Okay, everybody, welcome. Let me know if you can hear me all right or not. Wild days here. Going to go through a couple key pieces of information based on some recent changes, monthly closes, and more. Pretty wild days. I have some friends in Dubai. It's a bit scary for them. Let me know if anybody cannot hear me. Just going to go through some things here. So, good morning, Felix. Thanks for the repost. And thank you guys. I'm glad it sounds much better. It's been an issue. The bottom line is Trump has room. And there's actually two scenarios. Both of them would work for money printing. First would be, which I'm not sure how likely it is, but if this, whatever they're calling it, decapitation in Iran, actually works, you might even get a strong dollar. Best outcome, whatever, and then you can devalue. On the other side, if the Straits of Hormuz remain dangerous and blocked, and even though they're not, I guess, still officially closed, but if it becomes too risky, oil prices rise everywhere. Yes, money printing would not be the answer there, but of course you could mask that with government stimulus, i.e., what happened in 2020, and do a similar action like what happened here in 2020. And the Federal Reserve has room. Claude Code is down, which has been helping me. So I'm back to the legacy database. I was literally doing some refactoring while it occurred. One might never know with these things. There's cyber risk is bigger than ever. Who knows why? Perhaps enemies are at the gate, even with American-facing AI companies. I don't know why they're experiencing an outage. Perhaps it's a hack. You never know. Remember, these extremes are probably never going to get hit again, right? What I was showing on the other chart, the same chart yesterday, but with the different, my newer chart engine. That green shaded area is getting closer to the black line. It's not getting closer to the borders, the border lines. And the reason is because it's a power curve. So you can put the 90th and the 10th, perhaps as a better guide. And then we got close in 2022. We didn't actually get there. And I'm willing to bet we won't get there this time. Could be wrong, but I don't think so. So I think it's even closer where we could trade. Something like this, and even this. Probably too cheap. Especially while companies are making redemptions on sovereign assets. Bitcoin might find a bid. I noticed it closed up just a little bit yesterday. Although down right now. We can just look at TradingView. More advanced than my charts. Big risks for Trumpistan. You know, I thought, and go to Ukraine quickly, I thought that this would be just a slow grind. It's clear that Trump's golfing buddy is not going to be ending this anytime soon, especially with the U.S. starting a war. But depending on how this goes, you know, the risk could rise everywhere. Trump was elected on not starting World War III. It's wild times. Putin is humiliated. Henry Kissinger said, the only thing worse than being an enemy of the United States is being an ally. It's more appropriate to Russia. Hello, Oscar. Good morning, Oink. If you see this trend that Russia's willing to put up with, and don't get me wrong, I certainly hope that the Iranian people can be free. But the attacks around the Middle East are definitely should be disconcerting to everybody, although I'm certainly sure the United States military gamed it out. How much they gamed it out, I don't know. Trump's messaging has not been exactly clear, has it? He says they're ready to talk with me. Then he says, as long as it takes. Then he says we can go 5 weeks at least. Crazy days. But just going back to this chart, I mean, this is what he was left with. Powell, I'm not saying this is great that there's 18% of the United States federal debt that's monetized, nor is it a necessarily reasonable level of debt. But he does have room. Although I'm certainly wondering what you guys think of this. We got Melania chairing UN Security Council meetings. Trump's golfing buddy and son-in-law doing negotiations, which have all but collapsed in both cases. The way to get this down is to have the Federal Reserve step in to create an outsized buyer to get this yield down. How are you guys feeling about all this? Good morning, Satoto. Art of the deal, yes. Still getting used to this streaming software, but it's weird. Doesn't seem like StreamYard that I can even put the messages up on the video, which is always helpful for people, but in any event. Sorry. So still has about 40 bips before inverting. Do you guys think this is going to turn into a wider conflict? Yeah, this is very annoying. Sorry, I cannot put your comments in the video, guys. Anyway, bridge to Bitcoin. I don't know when it starts, but it will probably become inverted when there's panic, right? When this becomes higher, 3-month higher than the 10-year. Just have to keep tracking it. When I get my damn other software back up again, we can look at the yield difference. TradingView was offering that service more, but now it's even harder to do math here. But I think it's very possible we could see Bitcoin rise as a risk-free asset here. Can always go into gold, can always go into silver, but as we know, this is super cheap. Pull up Bitcoin silver. And remember, this chart again is remarkable that no matter which, if you do the percentile multiples, which is supposed to be very, very rare to get to this, or you do the regular quantile regression, we mark this bottom. So at least for Bitcoin, I think it's screaming buy, not financial advice. But this is never good. Perhaps on the back of Trump's conflicting messages. It's really not what anybody in the US government wants to see. No matter what anybody tells you, it's not what they want to see. If he actually got the job done, and he actually, again, I know his messaging is far from consistent. But if somewhere there was a, lack of a better word, a deal or a concrete plan, then this would come back down. But it's definitely not what they want to see. You remember Liberation Day. This almost got Scott Bessent to quit right here. No opinions on strategy either. I will get some. I will get some better charts on that soon. But my latest and greatest next generation, like I said, Claude is either getting hacked right now or just has some regular problems. But it is kind of interesting. They were in this spat with the military, and now they're down. I mean, the guy just can't stay on messaging. He just can't. It's impossible for him. To use the Mario Draghi, whatever it takes, and then say we're about to make a deal. It's can't imagine it exudes a lot of confidence from the military. The United States munition stockpiles have, at the medium and upper medium grade, never been higher or better. As was stated to me today, it's good you learned about it today, we have a virtually unlimited supply of these weapons. So this is where I wonder if you say one thing, why would you continue the thought which suggests that that one thing might not be true? Wars can be fought forever and very successfully using just these supplies, which are better than other countries' finest arms. At the highest end, we have a good supply, but are not where we want to be. Much additional high grade weaponry is stored for us in outlying countries. Sleepy Joe Biden spent all of his time and our country's money giving everything to P.T. Barnum. Insulting Zelensky, unbelievable. Of Ukraine, hundreds of billions of dollars worth, which is just not true. It's maybe about 80 billion, and that immediately went to, that was the value of old kit, and that immediately went to new weapons in the U.S. Whether those are ready now or not is one thing, but that's just a military value of, I'll show you the chart. And he gave so much of the super high end away free. He didn't bother to replace it. Again, this is a little bit of a contradictory statement from where he just started. Fortunately, I rebuilt the military in my first term before Biden and continue to do so. The United States is stocked and ready to win big. Curious what you guys think of this messaging. Let's go ahead and look at, sorry, pull this over here. Just so people are aware, this is United States versus Europe in euros. 115 billion or so was what the US totaled, and the vast majority of that was in kit that was immediately earmarked for Americans American military companies to be paid by the government to replace. This was shrink wrapped stuff that was going to be discarded anyway. They never passed Europe. Even here is an exchange rate issue. It's close. The Kiel Institute has a, I think they have an exchange rate issue because I've seen this line was actually even lower for the U.S. before. But in any event, Europe's now spent 85 billion more than the U.S. and 100 billion more committed at least for Ukraine. But I do find it quite curious that Trump goes on the offensive, hedges whatever he's doing, almost like he just learns about these things, right? As was stated to me today. And don't get me wrong, people in the military are super professional. They plan for this stuff. It's not like Trump is running any of this. But he's the decision maker. What do you guys think? Do you guys see this? It's pretty wild. I certainly hope they can find freedom. It's just a question of how much resolve the West is going to show. Right? When it came to a war in Europe, this is what Trump did. I was listening to the Ukraine, the latest um, podcast last night or 2 nights ago. Can't even remember now, but it's a real opportunity. The double standards that have been placed on Ukraine. Um, Firstly, they're going to be able to help all these countries that are now dealing with shahheads coming at them because they have plenty of experience every night. But it is just bizarre to me the way that Trump has spoken about Putin the whole time when Putin was supplying air defenses to Iran. The relationship really couldn't be clearer between Iran and Russia. It's very difficult to predict these things, right? I mean, look where we are. Look where we've been in light of Liberation Day. We got all the way up to 4.6. So we're at 4 on the 10-year. That's at least the annual guideline. Of a ceiling, but I just want to say this is, I mean, there's no doubt in my mind this goes pretty far up. If not before the midterms, then before whatever Trump tries to do in the next presidential election cycle. But he's got plenty of room to bring this up. Sorry. Hello, Yahim says no more Iran supplying drones to Russia for use in Ukraine. Yeah. I mean, absolutely, damaged Iran is good for Ukraine. The problem is Russia's now been domestically producing these drones, so we can say now that they're just Iranian designed, that are shooting down, being shot down every night in Ukraine. But Ukraine certainly has the experience in doing it, so I'm sure that the back channels are wide open between, the militaries or the defense sectors, air defense sectors of the Gulf states and Ukraine. Trump is such a lightning rod for, everything. I think it's probably true. Someone mentioned, actually, Jake mentioned this, did an interview with Jake from, sorry, I'm blanking now. The nonprofit, but I'll just find it really quick. Also mining Langenkamp, also a mining operation in Africa, Jake Langenkamp, who we interviewed last week. And, it is true. This, he's a former military guy, and he said Trump is certainly such a lightning rod for all of this, but a lot of this realignment was coming anyway, which I absolutely agree with. I think the question is just how far Trump can take it, because he's never going to stay on message, just going to tweet what he wants, or truth, or whatever you call it. And apparently China has told Iran to keep the straits open. I don't know how that's going right now, how if ships are actually taking the risk going through there. But it's really just up to China now if they're going to restrain themselves or enter the fray. I mean, we have war in Europe, we have war in the Middle East. Are we going to have a global war? Remember, it took just not even a year and a half to get back to trend from the worst position. All right. And now I do think, unfortunately, I don't have the quantile model to show you, which is a little bit better, but I do think these are the low levels. All right. We could hang around here just like we did here for a couple months. No idea, but I'd say a year and a half to get back to trend. All right. Where are we a year and a half from now? 200,000. It's a sad thing to say about Bitcoin or any hard asset, but there's no doubt in my mind that this is going to be a major global safe haven, sort of risk off trade. And I am curious, haven't quite figured out the way to do it yet, but if we can start to see these divergences, right? When things get risky, when they get risky, this stuff used to go down, not up. You want it, if you're a bondholder, you want it to go down, not up when risk on comes. This is the US becoming riskier when wild decisions are made. But like I said yesterday, said this on Danny's podcast too, I don't think it's the end of the dollar by any stretch of the imagination. It's still the best looking horse in the glue factory. It's just the longer it drags out, the worse it is for the dollar, the worse it is for Trump. I certainly hope that the people of Iran can be free. This is rock bottom, though. Absolutely rock bottom. We've now hit it 3 times. And then this is the beautiful thing about Bitcoin, right? So we're at 700 roughly. 750, 800, whatever. Let's just even say 700. How many years back to get back to really 700? All right, touched it here. And then of course, we were more valuable during the 2021 boom, but you have to go back 5 years. And then it was really no looking back, except probably was here. Yeah, but I mean, like on the lows, right? On the worst days for Bitcoin. So the point is, this is a very bad time for Bitcoin relative to silver, but it's 2020 was way cheaper. 2019, way cheaper. Only 200 ounces of silver, and then back we go. These levels are just not coming back. So get the deal while you can, silver bugs. Crazy days. Crazy days, guys. If you're not going into the 10-year Treasury, and I know that's plenty of room, plenty of time for this to come back down and U.S. to make better decisions, or not even better decisions, but at least the decisions come off as more encompassing and thought through or whatever, even though this is a rough patch. But there's been a lot of redemptions from pension funds. You can go into gold, go into silver, or you can go into Bitcoin. When is it going to stop for Russia? $1.27 million casualties. God only hopes people of Iran don't have to suffer something like this. But on the bright side for Ukraine, the bright side for just defense, general defense of countries in a brand new war. Like, even the way that the Americans have gamed out this scenario, which I know they've been planning for like whatever, 50 years, 40 years, 30 years with varying degrees. Drones are completely new. I mean, drones are, Ukraine is the only country that has experienced in the wild at scale what Iran is trying to do. And so I think rather than just sort of standing by and watching the Ukrainians do what they do, um, Ukrainians are going to be able to help all of these Gulf countries in defending themselves. Like, look at this. Do you think Trump's golfing buddy is doing a good job at stopping this war in Russia? This is right on track. A year ago, the German Ministry of Defense said that Russia's planning to get to 2,000 drones a night. They're averaging 1,100, 1,500 on some nights. Anybody have any idea where this is going? Hello, sir. Samavana says Bitcoin is not sold off as often as in previous conflicts. Yeah, I agree. I mean, we're again, this is not the best uh, support line to show you, but I don't even think it's a sign of the conflict. I think it's a sign of the general network where we are. Um, it's just extremely unlikely to get below these levels relative to the power curve. So I agree with you. I agree. I mean, if if investors are going to stay out of bonds, maybe they'll go into Bitcoin. Bitcoin is proving its anti-fragility day by day, day by day. It is weird to me that gold's been a little bit light, but as I've shown you guys on the other dollar charts, I mean it's at max levels. So I mean it can always go higher, but how much more are you going to give it? Yeah, I don't know. I'm just feeling a little bit stoic today, guys, with all the bombings that are happening outside of Iran. Iran retaliating, as I'm sure has been gamed out by America, but how strong is America's resolve? I think Israel's resolve is extremely strong. They're going to fight very hard. But I mean, these are just disgraceful words. I mean, not that I could expect anything more from the way that this goes, but it's almost like he's trying to convince himself. After he took the decision. It's like if you're going to take the decision and be steadfast. But I think that's a bit too much to ask for the leadership of the American people at the moment. Anybody have any friends in the Middle East? Yeah, I agree with you on the gold surge. I think it's extremely unlikely. Just we've seen the spear. I mean, we've seen the. I need to probably show this on TradingView, right? We've seen the. I always hate going into the full charts. It's just even more annoying. This is a strong recovery. Maybe not a dead cat bounce, but Bitcoin's still not mainstream. That's for sure, right? And like you mentioned, and I fully agree and believe, like the power curve is just it's uncorrelated with what's happening in the broader markets. So to me, this is pretty close to the bottom. Mm. Everybody okay so far? I've had friends tell me it's a very unsettling night. I guess it's gotten worse in the last 24 hours. Well, guys, not much more for me today. I think about your family first and foremost. Then think about what you'll be doing with the capital that you could invest in Bitcoin maybe a year from now. Don't even have to invest in Bitcoin. Could invest in options, other things. These are definitely the levels. Like, this is what this analysis is for. And as crazy as it seems, we're actually moving, as I was trying to say yesterday, we're moving closer. Price is moving closer to this black line than it was way back here. Right? Here was way over, here was way over. Now we're right on it. Yeah, we're a fair bit under right now, but I'm 99.9% certain we're going right back within the year and a half. Don't rush it. Don't rush it like some people. All right. I think that'll do it for me today. Thank you for watching, guys. Hope everybody stays safe. Keep calm.